So I'm going to talk about transcatheter repair is preferred over replacement for tricuspid regurgitation. So this is the battle. This is T-tier versus TTVR. This is me versus Yoshi. We'll see how we end up. So I'm going to start by just presenting my argument. So my first argument, number one, is that T-tier is effective. So that's why I think it's one of the preferred strategies. And this is data from the Triluminate study, as well as data that you can see on the right side from the BRIGHT registry, the Triluminate roll-in, and then the BRIGHT follow-up. And so what you can see here is treatment with tricuspid tier using the TriClip device in both the Triluminate randomized device trial and the other TriClip studies shows that we're able to reduce tricuspid regurgitation to moderate or less in 89% of patients. And even in the real-world studies, particularly the BRIGHT, showing a one-year follow-up, 86% moderate or less in an all-comer type population. And the effectiveness is there even in complex disease, and particularly in the early experience. So one of the things we learned from Triluminate is the majority of operators in this trial had very limited experience with the device. And despite that, and despite the complicated anatomy and the presence of both torrential, massive, and severe tricuspid regurgitation, the device was actually successful, despite most centers having a median of 2 cases per site. And this is data from the BRIGHT registry that was published this year. This is over 500 patients, showing that you can get both significant and sustained reduction in tricuspid regurgitation at 1 year, 81% at moderate or less, again, in a real-world setting, when we're starting with the majority of patients having both massive and torrential tricuspid regurgitation. So what's the second argument? The second argument, I think one of the most important arguments, is tricuspid tier is safe. And so these are the data from the Triluminate pivotal trial. And remember that the data that we've shown, or the data that we've seen published, shows that tricuspid interventions improve quality of life. We haven't seen data that's compelling that shows improvements in mortality. And so when we're looking at it from that lens, we need to think about how common are the adverse events and how important are they? And so in the Triluminate pivotal trial, the in-hospital mortality was 0%. The length of stay on average was 1.6 days. 98% of these patients was discharged home. You can see all-cause mortality at 30 days, 0.6%. And then you can look at the other adverse events. In particular, I'm highlighting on the bottom here a new pacemaker, 0.6% as well. This is, again, results from the BRIGHT registry, the real-world one-year results from that registry, over 500 patients. And just to put it into perspective, you can see that the mean age of these patients was almost 80, mostly female, quite compromised in terms of quality of life. The majority of TR was either massive or torrential, and their Euro scores were high. So these are high-risk patients. And if you look at the safety profile through 1 year, 0% pacemaker at 30 days, 0.8% at 1 year, all-cause mortality 1% at 30 days, 15.1% at 1 year. So these are not well patients, obviously. In terms of cardiovascular mortality, 0.8% at 30 days and 8.8% at 1 year. So argument number 3, we can show evidence of treatment with tricuspid tier, we can show evidence of right ventricular remodeling. And this is data presented by Joao Cavalcante at New York Valves. And what you can see is when you treat these patients who have significant tricuspid regurgitation, we do see remodeling in the right ventricle, and we also see changes in right ventricular function. So the effective right ventricular ejection fraction increase in patients. This, of course, is dependent on your ability to reduce tricuspid regurgitation. So in those patients who get a good result with large reductions in TR, we see more significant remodeling and we see more evidence of improved right ventricular function. The same is seen as well in changes in right atrial volume and changes into tricuspid valve annulus size. So this is tricuspid repair, but it is associated with right ventricular and tricuspid valve annular remodeling when the procedure is successful. Number 4, tricuspid tier improves quality of life. And in effect, all the treatments to date that are approved have shown improvements in quality of life as the driving force for why these technologies have been approved. And as you can see in the Triluminate randomized control trial, you see improvements in the KCCQ overall summary score from baseline to 1 year in these patients that is sustained. And as well, if you kind of compare that in terms of quality of life in other studies. So this is a selection of studies in heart failure and medical therapy for heart failure. And then on the far right, you see TriClip, MitraClip, and TAVR. And you can see that there is an improvement in quality of life in this population of patients treated with tricuspid tear that falls in the range of what we see with medical therapy for heart failure and aortic valve replacement in PARTNER 2. And again, going back to the BRIGHT registry, you can see here on the far right in red that that quality of life score improves as well in all comers in a real-world population once they've been treated, and that quality of life improvement is sustained out to 1 year. Probably the most important thing in this talk, however, is the fact that, TR is not one size fits all, regardless of what technology you want to look at. And one of the advantages of tricuspid tear is it does offer you a tailored approach to TR. And we have to consider multiple factors when we're looking at patients with tricuspid regurgitation to understand what is the best therapy for them. We need to look at the patient factors. We need to think about their bleeding risks, whether or not they already have a pacemaker. We need to look at the right ventricular function. That's going to impact whatever therapy you choose to use on these patients. Imaging quality, I know Dr. Jean is going to talk about this later, and this is a huge issue with any kind of tricuspid intervention. And then valve anatomy. One of the advantages of tricuspid tear is that it offers a safe and effective approach to treat a wide variety of patients with TR. So this is the debate, but I would argue there isn't really a debate for a couple of different reasons. One, we need to look at the individual patient and evaluate that patient and decide what's the best therapy for that patient. Is it going to be tricuspid tear? Is it going to be TTVR? And we need to think about both the risks, the benefits, and the efficacy of either technology for that individual patient in front of us to understand what's the best therapy. And patient selection is challenging. They come to us at all stages of their disease. They may come to us asymptomatic. They may come to us with severe RV dysfunction at that point of no return. And it's not just about trying to decide what's the best therapy. It's also trying to decide when's the appropriate time to intervene on these patients. When are we at the point of no return where no therapy is actually going to be beneficial in these patients? And the factors that are probably really going to affect our clinical decision-making isn't necessarily the results of one randomized trial versus the other, but a combination of both patient factors and device factors. So the age of our patient, their frailty, their comorbidities, bleeding risk, pacemakers, imaging adequacy, and the presence and severity of right ventricular dysfunction. And maybe the severity of TR is going to push you from one device or one technology to another technology. We also need to factor in device factors, the safety of the intervention, how efficacious it is for TR reduction, how difficult it is, how often we get complications, whether or not patients are going to need a new pacemaker, right ventricular remodeling, and then future options in case of device failure. So the real challenge is going to be not, is it one technology, is it another? It's really going to be understanding the optimal therapy for the patient, the optimal time to refer a patient for therapy, and then choosing the appropriate device for the appropriate patient depending on their patient characteristics, needs for lifelong anticoagulation, new pacemakers, potentials for right ventricular remodeling, and then lifetime management. So thank you for your attention.